Continue with your top stories. And the current minimum tax imposed on Kenyan businesses, even when a business reports losses, is unconstitutional. This comes after High Court Judge Justice George Odunga made the ruling on Monday, dealing KRA a blow which was seeking to collect at least 21 billion shillings to fund a 3 trillion budget. 3 trillion shillings budget, rather. The ruling comes at a time when businesses are reeling under the rise in fuel costs. However, KRA says it will appeal the decision, and Giverson Minor has more.
It is now a relief for Kenyan businesses after the High Court in Machakos on Monday ruled as unconstitutional the minimum tax, stopping its enforcement and implementation.
Orders a declaration that Section 12D of the Income Tax, as introduced by the Finance Act 2020 and amended by the Tax Laws Amended Act 2020, violates Article 201B1 of the Constitution and is null and void.
While reading the ruling, following a suit by the Kitengela Bar Owners Association, Justice George Odunga declared that minimum tax will expose Kenyans to double taxation and at the same time diminish capital for those making losses, while for businesses making profits, the capital base remains unaffected.
The tax also violates the right to dignity under Article 28 of the Constitution, since it assumes that all those in tax law's position are evading taxes. Article 28 of the Constitution provides that every person has inherent dignity and the right to have that dignity protected. It is for this court to ensure that all persons enjoy that right.
If affected, businesses, including those making losses, would be forced to remit at least 1% in their capital taxes to the Kenya Revenue Authority,
under which taxpayers find themselves in loss-making position, but instead subjecting them to the same law and placing them in the same class as those whose tax loss is not trading loss, thereby treating them as undifferentiated mass.
The minimum tax was introduced under the Finance Act 2020 by the National Assembly and was effective from January this year. It is, however, a big blow for KRA, which was looking to collect at least 21 billion shillings to raise money to fund a 3 trillion shilling budget to help the economy recover from the ravages of the coronavirus pandemic.
Mimi nataka kuwauliza wabunge, tukirudi Jumanne, leteni mswada, nita-approve.
The ruling comes at a time when Kenyans are decrying the rise in fuel cost, even as National Assembly Speaker Jesse Muturi moved to invite motions from legislators to reduce fuel product prices. A section of legislators have vowed to table a motion as Kenyans squarely put blame on them for enacting punitive laws, leaving Kenyans exposed to more economic ravages.
The fuel prices have reached levels we have never witnessed before.
It is possible. Exploring ways, and that is the reason why the cost of fuel in Uganda is cheaper, because Uganda has an open and free tendering system for the fuel procurement. So that if at all they want to benefit as either holders of the Committee of Committee of Energy or Committee of Energy Petroleum Regulatory Authority, that they can cushion Kenyans in other ways, explore options of the free on board of the cost insurance freight, so that these policy proposals can be given considerations.
KRA has, however, announced that it will appeal the ruling. Giverson Minor, K24, Nairobi.
Giverson Minor setting us up beautifully for our topic tonight regarding KRA and minimum taxation. And we're asking you, especially if you're a small business owner, what do you think government should do to support small businesses? What do you think government should do to support small businesses? Our number is on your screen. We'd love to hear from you. We're already getting some responses.
Yes, and John says the government is overworking in terms of ensuring that small businesses and generally the business environment is as unfavorable as possible. They will keep on pushing in order to ensure the country has as many paupers as possible.
Ish.
Wow, that's a very harsh indictment.
Harsh. Now, let's start with you, Mr. Nixon Otieno from KRA, and Victor Ogalo from KEPSA. KEPSA is the Kenya Private Sector Alliance.
Yes.
Okay. You guys interact a lot. is what I overheard from Victor on the phone. He said, we meet with KRA all the time. We don't want to fight on the show.
Robust engagements.
Robust engagement.
That's very true.
What's the thinking behind the 1%? Why are you coming for businesses that are even making losses? You want us to pay you even before we pay the landlord, even before we pay a supplier to Nalipa KRA.
Yes, Valentine.
It's hot in here.
A few things I think we've not appreciated is that the government is under pressure to make sure we deliver public goods and services. So we need to up our collections. That is one. And now number two, the tax burden needs to be shared fairly by everyone.
Okay.
So it's really not killing businesses in Kenya, but just for the two reasons. And remember, there's already a 1% being paid by anybody whose turnover is between 1 million and 50 million. So I don't think it's any different.
But what about people
Wait. So was that on top of, because one of the arguments in court was double taxation. So were we supposed to then pay, I say we because I have a small business, we're supposed to pay 1% minimum and then also pay 1% once your turnover hits $1 million?
No. You know, taxation has been, you know, the government is trying to simplify the taxation regime, especially for the small businesses. So this 1 million to 50 million is what we refer to as turnover tax. So once you pay your 1%, that's all.
You don't have to pay minimum.
Correct. Actually, you need to be under the minimum tax provisions. But the minimum tax will apply to now businesses that are doing turnovers of more than 50 million.
Okay. Yeah. What about making losses?
According to the law, if you look at I'm sure Kenyans like reading, they can go find for themselves.
Right.
Under Section 12D, the minimum tax is that you need to pay 1% of your turnover. If you're making losses, you will still pay the 1%, but carry forward your losses. If you are not making losses, then most likely you will be paying more than the 1%.
Not all losses are the same. This initiative was started by the Kitengela Bar Association. Yes. So say I have a bar, I get tired of selling somebody else's brew. I decide I want to invest in my business. Whatever money has come through, I want to create my own brewery, sell my own beer. I've reinvested. On your books, that looks like a loss, right, for that year, because it's not profit, you've decided to reinvest. Would we still have to pay even when we are reinvesting in our business and creating employment?
Yes, Valentine. You know, there's the accounting bit of losses and tax losses. And in most cases, they are computed differently. So we are talking of tax losses. You know, you can make a profit accounting-wise, but in tax, you do a loss, and vice versa, because of certain fundamental differences between the two. So what we're saying is, we want to share tax burden fairly. Not specific businesses keep paying the same, you know, paying the tax year in, year out. What we're doing is, let everybody also pay their fair share of tax.
Okay, that's fair, that's okay. And I would agree with you if we were living in a very ideal environment where everybody was, you know, had a business that was thriving, there was an environment that was enabling businesses to grow and to become going concerns. As KEPSA, are you concerned that there is not enough being done to create that enabling environment for small businesses to grow so that then they can pay that 1% or 2% or 20% or whatever it is government is asking for?
Thank you very much. I was shocked to hear that even when you're making losses, you're supposed to pay a tax. And I think that is what is not making sense to Kenyans. More or less like borrowing and lending government, because you're in a loss, you have to pay. So you probably, where are you going to get what to pay? Loss. So you're going to borrow to pay.
So you're going to further debt.
Yeah, to further your debt. And I think that is the concern of many Kenyans. Just to directly respond to what he said, but that's basically what the minimum tax proposes. And it's what we do not want. The one thing we want is to support KRA to seal loopholes. Loopholes such as, helping to encourage people to, those who are evading tax to come on, those who need help for them to comply. Those are things we support KRA to do.
Right.
And KRA has a strategic plan which talks about expanding the tax base.
Sure.
How they're going about expanding the tax base
Is increasing taxes.
is increasing taxes. And minimum tax is the way it's defined right now is actually very indiscriminate, whether you're making losses or not. And I would not squarely blame KRA. This thing was presented in Parliament. And if you could go to the Hansard and see how many voted yes amongst our elected leaders in Parliament, it would be shocking to see that it went through.
So Nixon is
Right.
here facing the heat, but the heat should be in Parliament
Yeah,
with our
That's why it went
parliamentarians.
through.
Yeah.
And these are the people who should be taking care of our interests as citizens and as businesses to debate such laws, such bills when they come on, to look at it holistically.
In your
It's
opinion,
true, it was passed last year actually.
Yeah.
It's being implemented now. It was passed last year.
Yeah.
In your opinion,
Okay.
as KEPSA,
Yeah.
if then KRA was able to seal these loopholes and increase the tax base, not by increasing taxes, but by bringing more people who are not in the tax bracket,
We would be able to even lower the rates.
would we be able, yes, we'd be able to lower the rate?
Yes.
They would be able to plug the deficit that they're looking for?
Yes.
So what then, in your opinion, do you think is the reason why they've opted to go this? Is this just a shortcut? Or it's an easier thing to do than to look for Valentine who is not
Yes.
paying taxes?
Whoever we
and-
have on the books, wacha tushike hao tena kidogo tu instead of
You know,
looking for new taxpayers.
KRA collects tax and it has targets. It has to visualize how it's going to do that. Okay? It's given a target and it's now their headache to come up with ways to do that. And unfortunately, they normally go for the easier route. Right? I like what I saw much of last year up to this year, up to June, the advocacy by KRA. Most of you received text, you received emails, right? If you have businesses, you've received, it's so many months to file your returns, right?
Yes, I
Okay.
got those, yeah.
And for the first time, actually, they overshot their target,
Their targets.
right? So I would want a situation where KRA, businesses look at KRA as a partner in business and not
Someone who punishes you.
coming with a hammer,
And a whip.
right? Yeah. So that's the kind of relationship we're building with KRA, and that's the kind of visibility that I would like KRA to provide out.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we're here having this conversation and we're asking, do you think the government is doing enough? Or rather, what more do you think the government could do to promote small businesses? What do you think the government should do to support small businesses? And the WhatsApp number is on the screen. You can talk to us. We'll have to take a short break. But when we come back, we'd love to hear from you and we'll carry on with this conversation.
Welcome back to The Loop. We are asking a very pertinent question, especially if you are in business. What do you think government should be doing to support small business? What do you think government should be doing to support small business? This is a rare opportunity. We've got a representative from KRA. We've got Mr. Kepsa himself, Victor Ogalo. So feel free to ask your questions, make your petition. He's the voice for public sector. No, private sector. Private sector, yes.
Me have a question. Nikona kiulizo. And this one is to you, Nick.
Yes, yes.
Do you think the government is asking for too much from KRA? The targets you guys have been given, because for you to start looking at this sort of means to collect and not to enable means that you must be under some very serious pressure there for some targets, which may not be realistic.
You're under some private sector type of targets.
I don't think the targets are unrealistic.
Oh.
Because when the revenue targets are set by a government, they're actually underlying economic factors. They don't just come with figures from the blues. They look at how is the economy performing, and can we stretch it to this level. But of course, you expect people to work to achieve the targets. It's not, money you're sitting down and coming in. So if you look at the way KRA operates, and the government in general, we are trying to seal two loopholes. There is the legislative loophole, where we find there are people who are not within the tax bracket because of the tax laws. And that's why you see our tax laws keep on changing. Not really alone for the loopholes, but also for simplification purposes, because that is one of our core objectives in the next few years.
But this one feels punitive, like you open a business and now you immediately have to start paying government just because you opened a business.
Valentine, I think I explained earlier that if you are a small business that is doing 1 to 50 million, basically you are under what we call turnover tax.
Regardless.
Give you a simplified way, and that is one of the tax laws that were introduced on 25th of April 2020 as a measure of simplification. Because we always believe if you are a small business, you don't have the wherewithal to get an auditor, to keep proper books of accounts, so we just want to make it simple for you. But for the big business people, the more than 50 million turnover, that is when you see we are also trying to seal other legislative loopholes using minimum tax, but more so just to broaden the tax base and ensure we collect enough for government purposes. And you see it as borne fruit, Mark.
As KRA, yes, you are able to see the difficulties that businesses have with compliance. Because, I mean, I guess people come and tell you all sorts of things. I was unable to do this because of this and this and the other. Do you offer any support to those businesses? And if not, do you then use the information that you collect through those processes to advise policymakers on how they can create a better enabling environment for businesses so that they can be more compliant?
Very true, very true. You see, of late we are on iTax. Basically, you do everything through the iTax. That is one of the measures. You remember a few years ago, those who are as old as myself, there were lines and lines in Times Tower just to file your return. Nowadays, you can do it at the comfort of your home. We've simplified the process of paying taxes. We have non-residents as a method of expanding the tax base. We introduced the digital service tax and VAT for non-residents, just to expand the tax base because they were not within the tax bracket because of the law. And it's easier, they are paying from wherever they are. We have people paying from San Francisco and such like jurisdictions. Then another important thing that we've noted, I don't know if you've taken advantage of it, and I will ask our viewers also to take advantage of it, is the voluntary tax disclosure program. Effective 1st of January this year, we know that we have taxpayers who have a burdened with interest and penalties. Like Mark, if you didn't file your return, you didn't pay a certain tax. So that program is started in January, and anybody who will come within that framework between January, let's say now, 24th of September up to December 31st, they get 100% waiver, automatic waiver of all penalties and interest, provided you pay the principal tax.
So what do I have to come and do? I have to just come and say?
Everything is done on iTax.
You just
it's self-disclosure. Yes. Actually, we say it's operated under trust. Okay, total utmost good faith. So you go to the iTax system, you'll find there's even a guide on how to go about it, which is available on our website. You say between 2015 July and 2020 June 2020, I did not declare so much tax. I'm bringing myself forward to pay. When you do that and pay the principal tax, you get 100% waiver.
Okay.
Nobody will be labor on asking you what happened and and all that. But if you still have issues before 2015 or even post June 2020, we still have a waiver process. You can come to KRA, say, oh, I got a PIN, I did not file my returns because of I was absent from Kenya, I was sick, or there's any other reasonable cause. Then you'll be given a waiver of those penalties and interest.
Nice. Okay.
Yes. So there are many other ways in which the government is trying to help our taxpayers comply with the rules.
Victor, let me ask you. I was stunned to hear that KEPSA and KRA meet monthly. What are some of the results of those meetings? What have you gotten for us in the private sector from those meetings?
One of them he has just mentioned.
Okay, the waiver.
It is a result of this conversation. Sorry, you'll excuse my voice. I don't have the best of voice today. So that's one of them. I think you also have, you've also established an MSME desk. We also requested for that. I think even you could confirm also that the misrepresentation of tax, or what is it called, the mismatch.
Oh, the VA, the value-added auto assessments.
Yes.
Yes.
That has also quite improved.
What is value-added auto assessment?
What happens is, if I'm buying from Victor,
yes,
I'm supposed to declare 16% of what I've purchased from him.
Okay.
When Victor is filing his returns, he will claim what I charged him. So basically, we are matching what I'm declaring as a sale on my end and what Victor is claiming as a purchase from his end.
Oh, so like if your business buys a pickup,
correct,
and you're claiming I invested, I should get my VAT back.
Correct.
Then you're saying
KRA
I sold, and this was the value of the pickup.
Yes.
Another thing that I think you could also appreciate is we've seen a lot of VAT claims actually being honored, right? And with increased amounts every June towards pending bills, towards VAT returns. So there are lots of gains in this kind of conversation. And of course also helping our members to understand that they're on the losing end if they do not give accurate information to KRA.
True.
Oh.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, because sometimes your money could be held in millions simply because when it's audited, right, they would find certain pieces of information is missing. Yeah.
Okay.
So by giving KRA the correct information, it enables them, or enables you to claim your tax very successfully and easily.
So tuache kuogopa KRA, they are
No,
our
no, no,
partner.
no, 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 no. We should not, to be honest.
Let me tell you, this is one part of my business that I hate. The idea of taxation and whatever, it makes me nervous. It's a thing I would do on a Monday morning. You know how they say you eat the frog first thing in the morning, then you move on to pleasant tasks.
Let me tell you something, why you should not even fear KRA. If you go to the Nordic countries, they reach out to the Revenue Authority and tell them, please do for us ABCD so that we can pay more tax. All right?
Yes.
It's their patriotic duty. They feel it, they express it, and they say, do for us ABCD. And then we pay more tax. We want, the business of developing this country is really not a government's business alone. It is all our business. But we have to work as a partnership.
Okay.
Yes.
We've been on Nixon a lot. Let me ask you, because you're working with KEPSA, okay, so you have access to many industries and many small businesses. What are some of the things that government can do? That question that we're asking our audience, what are some of the things government can do to support small businesses?
The government can do so many things, and it's not just on taxation. Of course, our tax rates are high, okay? Our tax rates are high, and allow me just to dwell on that before I come to other examples. Ordinarily for a lower income country to a middle income country, the share of tax revenue in the GDP should be in the range of 15 to 20% of GDP. Yeah. In our case as Kenya, what KRA collects is 16% of our GDP. That is normal.
Okay.
That is normal. Why I say they are being overstretched is because that's actually what we target between a middle income and a lower income, 15% to 20% of GDP coming from tax collected, all right, by the Revenue Authority. In developed countries or higher income countries, this goes up to 30%. Okay. But mark you, we have a GDP per capita of $2,040. The higher income countries have GDP per capita of over $10,000.
Oh.
Right? So we can't compare ourselves, we can't push ourselves, we can't strangle ourselves to give KRA targets of like 20% of GDP they should collect. No. No, no. That
So
doesn't
government
work.
should look for other ways
Yes.
that they can plug that deficit.
And one of the other ways is really not to strangle businesses. No. There's a
make them more
country.
profitable.
There's a country, for instance, where they wanted to deal with underreporting, and what they did, they had a lottery. So if you buy from this supermarket, please bring all your receipts, okay, to this pool. So that supermarket knows it's being targeted for accuracy. Okay, it actually improved the collection, the declaration by that supermarket by 21%.
Oh, by
Right.
incentivizing
Yes,
the
yes.
customer.
Yes.
Right.
So there are bottom-up approaches. There are also top-down, like what just happened with minimum tax can backfire sometimes. And I think it was also a policy that was not quite made well in the sense of little consultation. We raised concerns with KRA, with Treasury, with Parliament, and I think our concerns did not hit the right ears. Okay? Yeah, so
You should have called us.
Yes, consultation
Made
in policy
noise in the
making.
media.
Yes.
Now you see we are in court.
Upaze sauti.
Our members are in court. CAM was in court. RITRAC representing retail traders, ISPAC, the Kitengela Bar Association, you know.
Yeah, and generally business owners are really frustrated. If you listen to what Pinky is saying, she says, I wish the government was not trying to close small businesses even before they get a chance to take off raw materials, taxes, imports, even just setting up a company, it's soul crushing. Okay, we have to take a short break. Remember, we want to hear from you. The WhatsApp number is on the screen. We'll talk more on this subject when we come back.
Welcome back to The Loop. We are talking about small businesses, taxation, and we're asking you, what do you think government can do to support small businesses? What do you think government can do to support small businesses? This is a rare opportunity. KRA is in the house, as I make it sound like a hip-hop video. KEPSA is in the house. Yes, so Nixon, let me ask you, because we've seen this government make a concerted effort to increase the tax base. How successful has KRA been at that?
I think it's been very successful. Let me go back to what I said with respect to non-residents. In the last, from January, that's barely 8 months or 9 months, slightly less than 9 months, we already have, well, just under 100 taxpayers who are now paying taxes from outside the country, which was never there before. Okay? And then every year, we have a whole unit that deals with tax-based expansion. Their role is just to, facilitate those who are entering into the business realm to pay. So not just to pay, but also to file and also to train them to know which obligations they will be under, how they are supposed to undertake their tax processes, which taxes applies to them, if they have any issue, what can they do. So we have an elaborate process to deal with our new taxpayers.
Okay.
Yes, headed by one of the very senior people, within KRA. I might not have the statistics at my fingertip, but what I know, we have hundreds of thousands of taxpayers every year who are coming on board, are getting a PIN, okay, and of course some of them are also converting into paying the taxes.
Victor, a lot of Kenya is informal. A lot of us are in the informal sector. How many? Do you know exactly?
No.
Go on.
One, there are businesses actually. So businesses that are in the informal sector. You have 7.4 million businesses in the country. And out of that, about 79% of them are informal.
7.4 million businesses.
Yeah.
How many of those businesses are paying tax?
So they're informal. They're informal. I mean, they could be informal, yes, but they pay, either they pay some business, license fees every year. They may not be able to, some of them are making losses. Remember, a majority of these are micro in size. They're micro in size, employing 1 to 2 people. So, so those are the businesses that are informal.
But this is who KRA was looking for, with the 1%.
These are the people
7.4 million
we
businesses.
need to preach to about the benefits of formalization, right? What they're losing by being under the water. What they could gain by coming out and seeking help and getting certain waivers and being enrolled in certain support programs, being enrolled in programs like mentorship.
But where are these programs?
No. Once you come out, then we will know the scale of the challenge we have and the solutions we need for you. But if we do not see you, then it's very difficult to come up with support measures for you.
So what I'm asking is, if I'm a small business, is that a support I can get from KEPSA?
Yes, certainly.
Okay.
Yes, certainly.
So those are the incentives.
Yes. So, and of course, if you can't go to borrow in a bank, for instance, I just give that example. If your books of account are not well kept, okay, and sometimes those are the disadvantages of being in the informal, okay. But at times, I've also gone around like along River Road, and I find a guy with 5 big shops selling spare parts, Kirinyaga Road, River Road, and if you consolidated all this into one, you'd be a supermarket of spare parts. Then, oh no, man. Hey, I do not want to. KRA will hammer me, right? And so this is a guy who is potentially a whole supermarket divided into small businesses that can then hide easily and does not want to come out. So it's actually an old fear of KRA, and I think this is something that KRA needs to do. come out and we will co-create solutions together for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
For your hard-hitting fact, what is one of those ways that KRA, now that Nixon is sitting here, what are some of those ways that KRA can incentivize businesses to come forward? You've mentioned mentorship. What else?
It's not just KRA. Ministry for Enterprise, for Trade, Industry and Enterprise Development, in whose docket small businesses, actually all businesses fall in terms of enterprise development, has several things that they, that they could do to SMEs, okay? But they can only do it to non-SMEs whose data they have, okay? Yeah, so there are reasons why businesses stay informal, and they're justified reasons. But, and that, as long as we've not dealt with those reasons, then these businesses will still profit or find incentive to remain informal. But if we increase the benefits of formalization, then I believe we would see a number of business. 79% of 7.4 million enterprises being in the informal, you'd really actually have all these people. Now, one more thing I want to talk about is how many people are employed in the informal economy. 14 plus million out of over 17 million workforce. 14 plus million of them are in the informal economy. This is a workforce that is supporting the informal sector. And we all know how difficult it is to get a job here in Kenya. So these are also people, Kenyans who are working in the informal sector. We should find a way of supporting them, because now, how can they benefit from stuff like NSSF, NHIF, all these benefits, all right? They have families, okay? They also need loans, for instance, right? So there are a lot of benefits of formalization, but we need to be very, very, very tacit and very intentional about this. Okay. Okay? Yeah.
Okay. Nixon, for your hard-hitting fact, now you're going to appeal. KRA has said that they're going to appeal this decision and they're going to insist on the 1%. What are some of the successes that makes KRA think we need to push this 1% forward? What are some of the successes you've had before?
I might not discuss the merits or the demerits of the case, because I know it will be, before the court. But we have a legal department that is handling the issues to do with the appeal. Okay. That is one. But just as Victor said, we do a lot of programs, again, to create awareness with tax. Actually, I remember last week we had engagement with a number of schools, just teaching our high school students the benefits of paying tax and what sort of taxes are available, so that they start being aware when they go to a supermarket to shop, they are aware they are contributing into the development of the country, Kenya. In addition to that, we do a lot of collaborative measures, not just with the KEPSA, but with government agencies and also a number of companies. Actually, we believe that the more engagements we do with our taxpayers, the more informed they become, and the easier, the ease with which they pay their taxes. Okay. So our doors are open. Trust and facilitation. We are ready to facilitate any of our taxpayers who come forward.
How do we find those programs? Are they on the iTax website? Or do I just Google KRA program for business?
When you go to the KRA website, I think a lot, you'll find a few legal issues, but there's also a lot of guidelines that we've given. For every process, even on iTax, you'll find a guideline given. How do you file your return? So you are able to interact with such a system easily. Okay. Maybe we'll take it forward to start also publicizing when we have like trainings. I know before COVID, we used to have trainings every month on our 5th floor for newly registered taxpayers. The system for PIN and registration was almost merged. So we will get information of how many new businesses have registered in a certain month. Then we'll send out information invitation so that they come and we discuss about tax. But above that, I've also mentioned on those programs that are available.
I've heard your voice on a podcast as well.
Yes, we keep telling people, this is what we are doing.
Okay.
We have this waiver process. We have this program. Come forward and take advantage of it. Okay. We even have a program for those whom you know are evading tax. Okay, we have what we call a whistleblower program. If you know Mark is not paying his fair share, then you can quietly come and give information in confidence, of course,
don't do me like
to our Commissioner General's office, and it will also be treated in confidence.
Okay.
But just in addition, you might be paid if we recover some taxes to incentivize our people.
Could I add something to that?
We have 1 second. Speak very quickly.
1 second. I think in terms of supporting SMEs, we need to look beyond taxation. Yes, all Kenyans would want a lower tax, but we have to expand in the base in order to have a chance of lowering the tax. The second thing is the multiplicity of all these taxes. There are quite too many, all right? That's also something that KRA really needs to work on.
Okay, okay. It's already 10 o'clock. We have to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Asanteni sana.
Yes, gentlemen. And of course, you as well, you've heard what Nixon here has said, that there are those waiver programs which are available. So if you've been hiding there somewhere thinking, okay, fine, KRA is going to catch up with me, you can actually catch up with them first.
Sure.
All right? So that's one of the things that you could do. That's it for us here on The Loop. Thank you so much for watching. And Plugged is up next. I have got Steph Capella, who's coming through to talk about his brand new music. And of course, Achieng, who's a phenomenal artist you do not want to miss. That all happens in a short while. But right now, here's Valentine's Weekly.
We're a country, frequently, many of us are caught saying, Serikali's idea, Serikali's idea. But actually, as we've seen this week, we are more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. The Kitengela Bar Association got together and pushed through this 1% thing, and it actually went through, and us as SMEs got a judgment in our favor. Are you a small business owner? Are you a member of KEPSA? Are you a member of such an organization? Because that is how you can make sure your voice is heard. We frequently pass on the buck, like, oh, the government will do and blah, blah, blah. But these are the microphones that speak for all of us. So it's important that we join KEPSA. It's important that you join that bar association, the Restaurant Owners Association, the Mitumba Importers Association, whatever it is, so that your voice can be heard in a collective. Speaking by yourself as a solo voice in the wind can be intimidating. You might fear that you'll be targeted. But if you're part of these associations, there are many benefits. And also, we can all formalize. We do need to pay taxes. KRA is our friend. Gone are the days when it was ushuru is a problem. KRA is our friend. So join an association. Make sure that you formalize your business. As you've heard, there are very many benefits for you, for your employees, as we're all trying to develop this country. And on that note, Mike is next with the sports.
K24 Sports News, powered by Mozart Bet.
Biggest odds in the world every day on selected matches. Make a decision. Mozart Bet.
All right, and welcome back to K24, and it's now time for the sports. The Football Kenya Federation Premier League season 2021-2022 kicks off this Saturday in various stadiums across the country. National Super League winners Talanta FC will start off their campaign against Wazito FC at the Ruaraka grounds. And former champions Gor Mahia will play KCB in their opening fixture, while Posta Rangers will play Kariobangi Sharks. Newly promoted side Vihiga Bullets face a tough test against Bidco United, while Bandari FC, who finished third last season, will play Madara United at the Mbaraki Stadium in Mombasa at 3 p.m. Three Kenyan Deaf Ball Games teams, the men's and women's basketball teams and women's football team, have earned a direct ticket to the World Deaflympic Summer Games that will be held in Brazil next year. In the men's deaf soccer, Egypt beat Cameroon 2-0 to seal a third playoff position in a match that was played at the Moi International Stadium, Kasarani. Amir El Sirebeni I beg your pardon, and Amir Eldana netted for the Pharaohs. Mali will battle it out with Senegal in the football final that will be played at the same venue on Saturday. Okay, and on matters international soccer, Chelsea will face Manchester City at Stamford Bridge in the early kickoff on Saturday, and in another match that will also start at the same time at 2:30 p.m., Manchester United will face it off with Aston Villa at Old Trafford. Manchester United versus Aston Villa will be broadcasted live on K24 TV. In La Liga action, Deportivo Alaves will play Atletico Madrid in the early kickoff at 3:15 p.m. and Valencia face it off with Atletico Bilbao, and the match that will be broadcasted on K24 at 7:30 p.m. and Seville will host Espanyol.
K24 Sports News, powered by Mozart Bet.
Biggest odds in the world every day on selected matches. Make a decision. Mozart Bet.
All right, and that was your sports news. Thank you so much for joining us here on The Loop this evening, and thank you to our guests here as well. Don't go too far. We have to take a short break, but Unplugged is up shortly.